I've made Sue Becker's whole wheat bread a few times now, and if your bread has ever turned out dense or dry, there are a few things that makes all the difference. Today I am going to make a modification to this recipe that will make it even better. Hi friends, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to walk you through this recipe and show you what I've learned along the way. And I'm going to show you how to make the soft, delicious sandwich loaf bread with fresh milled flour. You want to make sure that you use mostly all hard wheat berries. I use all hard wheat. I'm going to be using hard red wheat and hard white wheat. The recipe calls for 1 to 1.125 liters. That would be approximately 675 grams. I will be doubling this recipe. I think I'm just going to do about a third of the red and then the rest in white. If you're new to milling wheat, you may want to start with all white, but that's really a matter of preference. So you'll get used to what you really like. The reason you want to weigh your wheat berries ahead of time is because 100 grams of berries yield nearly 100 grams of flour, and that's regardless of the grind texture or anything like that, but it prevents waste. I always like to grind the full amount because if I happen to have leftover flour, I could just throw it in the freezer. I put the smock mill on top of a little riser so that I got it high enough to fit my measuring cup under. I'll get this turned on. I'm gonna have to put something under the riser because it's trying to move on me. I'm gonna adjust this so you could just hear the stones kind of hitting together. You always want to make sure you have your mill on before you start pouring your wheat berries in. This Smock Mill 200 has been such a wonderful addition to my kitchen. It does a wonderful job. So I'm going to get this out of the way and get my mixer over here. It calls for 1.5 cups of hot water. I'm going to be doing a different step in this recipe, so I'm going to pour some of the hot water into a bowl so that I can mix my yeast into it later. And I'll set that aside for now, and then I'll pour the remaining water here into the bowl. If you were mixing your yeast in here, you would definitely not want that water to be that hot. But we're going to be mixing in oil and honey and things like that. And now we'll put in 1/3 cup of oil. I have half olive oil and half avocado oil, but you can use whatever kind of oil you like. And then 1/3 cup of honey. My honey is crystallized a little bit, so that's why it's a little bit clumpy. I'm actually gonna leave a little bit of this on here for when I do the yeast mixture. You don't have to do these steps. I'll explain it more later. You could just follow the recipe as is, but I will be showing you a step that's going to make this bread even better. And then 2 teaspoons of salt. And then it calls for 1 egg. And then it calls for 1 tablespoon of rice bran extract or powdered lecithin, and that's what I'm using. This is optional, but it definitely helps give you a nice fluffier loaf. And then it calls for 1 teaspoon of wheat gluten. And again, this is optional. I'm gonna mix these up a little bit. And then I'll add my flour. And you just wanna put in about 3 cups to start with, and you can always add more later. And you can see that's still really soupy, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some more of the flour. I want it to be quite sticky, but not that sticky. It's still quite sticky, but I think I'm gonna stop there and wait to add any more flour. So the next step we're going to do is what they call the auto-lease. Auto-lease is a resting period for flour and water before adding yeast. It's especially effective for freshly ground or whole wheat to create a softer and better textured sandwich loaf. So with all that said, we're gonna put the lid here on it and let it sit here for about 45 minutes. Okay, so the auto-lease is done, and you can see already it's not nearly as tacky. It's absorbed a lot of that water. So I'm going to take this water that we reserved and I'm going to add the yeast to that. I'm using an active dry yeast, and I'll be using a tablespoon. If you have packages, it's just 1 package. So I'm going to mix this together, and I'm going to mix the remaining amount of honey to this. A sweetener just helps to activate the yeast a little more. Wake it up a little bit. Some people just put the yeast right in on top of this dough, and I'm sure that works great, but I'd rather take this extra step to make sure that it's dissolved properly in the water So we'll let this bloom for 10 minutes and then we'll add it to our dough. Well, that is some very active yeast. I put some saran wrap on it to help keep it warm, and it's a good thing I did because it bubbled right up to the very top. So that's a good sign. If your yeast is not bubbly, that means your yeast may be dead. Okay, I'm gonna get this yeast mixture put in here. Okay, let's get this turned on and get it mixed together. All right, let's check this and see. It's a little tacky. Let's see, I might add just a little bit more flour to this. You want to err on the side of too tacky as to too dry, because if you have it too dry, you're going to have a really dry loaf of bread. I feel like this is going to be pretty good. It's tacky, but it's not overly tacky. So I'm going to let this mix for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll check it to see if it passes the window pane test. Let's check this and see if we can get a window pane. It looks like we got a window pane. So I'm going to spray some oil in this bowl. So I'm going to form this dough into a ball. Feels wonderful. And then I'll lay it smooth side down and get it nice and oiled up. And then we'll let this rise until it's doubled. This is rose up nicely. So I'm going to get it out here on the counter and get it divided up. So this would normally make 4 loaves. I'm going to make it into 3. I like to have bigger loaves, and one of my pans is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to divide this up into thirds. And one of them I'll make a little bigger because the pan is bigger. There's a couple different ways that I shape my loaves, and I'll show you the way I normally do it first. And that is I just kind of pull tension on the top. Well, like that. And then I just kind of pinch this bottom. So I've already oiled my pans. I'm going to put this biggest one here inside of this pan here. And then I'll show you the other way that most people do, is they just kind of make a rectangle and then they roll it up. And that creates the tension on the loaf. And then you just take these little ends here and then you pull the top down over it. We'll do the same thing on this side. And then we will pinch the back. And do the same thing with this loaf. Roll it up, and then we'll tuck the end under, pull a little bit of tension to smooth the top out. I'll flip it over, pinch it together, and then put it in the pan. I love these cast iron pans. I only have 2 of them. Someday I'll get more because I typically like to cook large batches while I'm cooking. And then I just put them in the freezer anyways, so I just as well to make plenty while I'm making them. I'll get a towel on these and we're going to let them double in size. And we'll set this for 350. The oven's up to temperature, so I'm going to get these in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. Okay, let's check these. That's 200. That's definitely done. I like it between 190 and 200. This one's over. And this one's only about 175. So I'll take these 2 out. And I'll leave this one in a little bit longer. I'll get some butter here on the top of these. They look so pretty. I'll get these out of the pan and onto the cooling rack. I'll take the spatula and loosen it up a little bit so it comes out easier. Beautiful. Okay, as soon as the other one gets done, we'll get that out on the cooling rack, get it cooled off, and then we could cut into them and give them a try. They're looking so good. Let's cut into one of them. It looks good. It's nice and soft. Let's put some butter on it and give it a try. It's still just a little bit warm. I want to finish it, but I better wrap this up. I can eat it later. It is very good. This recipe has been a standby for me for quite some time now, and it always turns out nice and fluffy and soft. But now that I've added the auto-leaf step to this, it makes it even more soft. If you've never used fresh milled flour making homemade bread, I highly recommend giving it a try. I've been converting a lot of my recipes over to fresh milled flour just because of all of the health benefits. I could go on and on about the many health benefits, but over the course of the next year, it's my goal to start converting most of our recipes over to fresh milled. So if you enjoy from scratch baking just like this, hit subscribe so that you can join me here again next time. I hope that you're all having a blessed day. Bye for now.